The offer he couldn't refuse. Jake Miller was just a normal guy living in a broken world. He worked as a car mechanic in a small town. His hands were always dirty and his wallet was always empty. Life was hard. Rent was late. His old van barely started in the morning. Every day felt the same, boring, tired, and full of problems. One night, after another long day at the garage, Jake sat in his small room with a cold cup of coffee. He opened his old laptop and checked his emails. Most were junk, fake sales, old news, and spam. But one email caught his eye. Subject: one contract, one choice. A new life awaits. Jake laughed. "Yeah, right," he said out loud. But he clicked on it anyway. The email was short. "Tired of your human life? Sign the Galactic. Service contract. One signature, endless rewards. But read carefully. No second chances." At the bottom was a glowing button that said, "SIGN now." Jake raised an eyebrow. "Galactic? Is this a joke?" There was no company name, no contact info, but something about the email felt different. His screen shimmered slightly, like waves in water. The air felt cold. He clicked sign now. A strange screen popped up. It showed a contract, but not in English. The letters moved like they were alive, shifting and glowing. Then, suddenly, the words changed into English. "By signing this contract, you accept the services of one galactic servant. In return, you enter the Pact of Planets. No returns, no refunds." Jake scratched his head. A servant? Like a robot. Butler. Rich people stuff. He laughed again. "Well, what do I have to lose?" He typed his name, Jake Miller. Then pressed submit. The screen went black, then flashed once. His laptop shut down on its own. The room fell silent. Suddenly, the lights flickered. His coffee cup shook. Outside, the sky flashed bright green for 1 second. Then boom, a loud crash came from the backyard. Jake jumped. What the hell was that? He ran outside barefoot, heart racing. The night sky was dark, except for smoke rising behind his small shed. He ran closer and saw something unbelievable. A small silver spaceship had crashed into the dirt. It was glowing. Steam hissed from its sides. Strange symbols were written across it. Before Jake could move, the ship opened with a sharp hiss. A tall, glowing figure stepped out. It had silver skin, no nose, and eyes like stars. It wore a strange robe that moved like liquid. Jake froze. Am I dreaming? The alien stepped forward, then kneeled. "I am Vok, your servant," it said in a deep, calm voice. "By contract, I am bound to serve you." Jake took a step back. "Wait, what? This is real?" Vok stood tall. "You signed a galactic service contract. I am your reward." Jake laughed nervously. "I thought it was a joke." Vok blinked. "Galactic law does not joke, master." Jake looked around. "You can't be serious." "I am always serious," Vok replied. Jake stared at the alien. His heart beat like a drum. "So, you're mine now?" "I am here to assist in any way," Vok said. "Cleaning, cooking, protection, travel, even planetary advice." Jake held his head. "Planetary advice? What does that even mean?" Vok smiled. "You will see soon." Suddenly, Jake's phone buzzed. He pulled it out. No signal. No apps. Just a single message glowing on the screen. "Welcome to the Pact." He looked up at Vok. "What did I just do?" Vok pointed at the stars. "You have entered a bigger world, Jake Miller. One with rules, power, and danger." Jake took a deep breath. "So I'm in a space club now?" "Not a club," Vok said. "A contract, and the contract must be honored." Jake whispered, "I didn't read it." Vok nodded. "Most humans don't." Jake sat on the grass, hands shaking. This is crazy. Vok tilted his head. Would you like tea? Jake stared at him. You make tea? I make galaxies, Vok replied. Tea is easy. Suddenly, a strange buzzing sound came from the sky. Jake looked up. A small drone hovered above his house. It wasn't from Earth. It had no lights, no sound, just a blinking red eye focused on him. Vok looked serious for the first time. They've seen us. Others are coming. Jake stood up. Who's coming? Vok's eyes glowed. Those who enforce the pact. We must prepare. Jake Miller woke up the next morning hoping it was all just a dream. But it wasn't. His backyard still had a smoking spaceship. And standing in his kitchen, calmly preparing breakfast, was the glowing alien named Vok. Good morning, Master, Vok said in his deep voice. He was wearing one of Jake's aprons backward. Jake rubbed his eyes. You're still here. Yes, Vok replied, placing something on the table. I made breakfast. Jake looked down at the plate. It was not bacon and eggs. It looked like green jelly with steam rising from it. The smell was sharp, like burnt plastic and mint. Jake stepped back. What is that? Traditional energy? Cubes from the Zekron system, Vok said proudly. Full of vitamins, very healthy for human bodies. I'll pass, Jake muttered and reached for a leftover donut instead. Vok tilted his head. Your food choices are inefficient. Jake sat down, holding his head. Okay, I need to figure this out. I have an alien butler. There's a drone watching my house. And I signed a contract I didn't read. Vok nodded. Correct. Jake looked out the window. Are the neighbors going to see your ship? I've already hidden it, Vok said. It is now cloaked with a Class 3 invisibility field. Good, Jake said. Now explain everything like I'm 5. Vok sat across from him, his silver skin glowing softly. You accepted a galactic service contract. Normally, only high-level beings sign those. By mistake or fate, you signed it. As a result, I was assigned to serve you. Jake squinted. Wait, assigned? So you didn't choose this? Vok blinked. I volunteered. Why? Jake asked, confused. Vok paused. Because humans interest me. Jake frowned. Most people don't even like humans. Exactly, Vok said. That's why I wanted. To see if your species had potential. Jake laughed bitterly. Well, you picked the wrong guy. I don't believe that, Vok said quietly. Just then, Jake's phone vibrated. He picked it up. The screen was still frozen, just the glowing message. Welcome to the pact. No apps, no signal. No internet. Jake looked at Vok. Can I use my phone again? No, Vok said. You are now part of the pact. Earth devices are no longer secure. So I'm locked out of my own phone? For your protection? Vok said. Jake stood up, frustrated. I need to work. I need to live my normal life. Vok stood, too. Your life is no longer normal, Jake groaned. You can fix my phone but not give me a normal breakfast? I could give you a starship, Vok offered, or maybe a time-slowing belt. Jake raised an eyebrow. You have a belt that can slow time? Vok nodded. Why would I need that? Jake asked. To avoid awkward conversations, Vok said. Jake laughed for real this time. All right, you're weird, but kind of funny. Vok smiled slightly. Thank you, Master. Jake sighed. Stop calling me that. Very well, Jake. Later that day, Jake went outside, trying to act normal. But everything felt strange. Cars passed by, birds chirped, kids rode bikes, but he could feel eyes on him. Somewhere above, something was watching. He walked to his van and found it humming softly. What did you do to my van? He asked Vok, who had followed him. I improved it, Vok said. Now it runs on quantum fuel. It can hover too. Hover? Jake shouted. People will notice. Only if you activate it. Jake looked inside. The old gear shift was replaced with a glowing orb. The seats were stitched with silver thread. He groaned. I was gonna sell this thing. No need, Vok replied. You now have galactic credits. I still have human bills. Jake. Snap.vok held out a small black cube. This can convert galactic credits into Earth currency. But use it carefully, too much may cause suspicion. Jake grabbed it. You think? He walked back inside, sat on the couch, and took a deep breath. What happens now? He asked. Vok stood by the window, looking at the sky. Soon, others will come. Not all welcome. You are part of something bigger now. Jake leaned back. I never asked for this. No, Vok agreed. But sometimes the contract chooses the right person. Jake stayed silent for a moment. Then, you said you wanted to help. So start by making me a burger. A real one, no green cubes. Vok bowed slightly. As you command, Jake. As Vok walked toward the kitchen, Jake looked at the small black cube in his hand. It pulsed gently, like a heartbeat. Outside, the wind moved strangely through the trees. Something invisible hovered above the house, watching every move. The contract was signed. The servant had arrived, but the real test was only beginning. Jake sat on the couch, turning the strange black cube over in his hands. It felt warm, like it was alive. Across the room, Vok calmly sipped something glowing from a cup. You said I'm part of something bigger, Jake said. But what does that mean? Vok placed the cup down. It means the contract is more than a gift. It's a key. A key to what? Vok looked out the window. To the pact of planets. A network of thousands of worlds. All connected by rules, trade, and ... consequences. Jake frowned. I just wanted help with rent, not join an alien empire. But you did, Vok replied, and now the pact watches you. Jake stood up. Okay, enough mystery. Show me the contract, the full version. Vok reached into the air and opened something invisible like a screen made of light. Strange symbols floated in front of Jake's eyes. They moved and twisted as if reacting to his mind. Then, slowly, they turned into English. By signing this contract, the being known as Jake Miller accepts entry into the Pact of Planets. Full binding to galactic law. One servant, bonded until death or violation. Responsibility for all consequences, including planetary-level events. Jake blinked. Planetary-level events? Vok nodded. You are now Earth's first and only representative. Jake took a step back. I didn't vote for that. I didn't choose that. You accepted it the moment you signed, Vok said calmly. That's why the contract was sent to you. Not everyone receives it. Jake pointed at the screen. So if I mess up, Earth suffers? Yes. His heart pounded. Then this isn't a gift. It's a trap. A test, Vok corrected. Jake sat back down. Why me? I'm not special. I'm not a leader. I fix cars. Sometimes the smallest. Gears keep the machine running, Vok said. Jake stayed quiet. He looked at the glowing contract. It suddenly seemed heavy, like a chain wrapped around his life. What happens if I break it? Vok's face became serious. Then the pact will erase you, and possibly Earth. Jake stood up again, pacing the room. You're telling me I accidentally made first contact with an alien alliance, and now I'm Earth's only hope? Yes, he laughed once, but it was cold and empty. That's insane. It is real, Vok replied. Just then, the black cube in Jake's hand started to glow brighter. A beam of light shot from it and painted a symbol on the wall, 3 rings circling a dark star. Vok's eyes widened. They've sent a message. Jake stepped back. What does it mean? Vok moved closer, reading the glowing mark. Earth has been flagged for assessment. Jake felt cold. What's that? The Pact wants to know if your species is ready to join them, Vok said quietly. If not, they will consider Earth a risk. Jake's voice cracked. A risk too. What? To everything, Vok said. War, pollution, fear, anger. The Pact does not allow unstable planets to grow. Jake whispered, They destroy Earth? Vok nodded. They've done it before. Jake turned to the symbol on the wall. How long do I have? 3 cycles, Vok said. In Earth time? About 1 week. Jake sat down hard. I can't fix the world in 1 week. You're not meant to fix it, Vok replied. You're meant to show it. Jake looked up. Show what? That humans are more than chaos. That there is still hope here. Jake closed his eyes. That's a lot to ask from a guy who barely pays rent. But you've been chosen, Vok said. And now others are watching. Suddenly the lights flickered. The symbol on the wall vanished. The house shook slightly, like an earthquake passed through it. Vok turned quickly to the window. We are being scanned. Jake rushed over. By who? Other species. Some are friendly, others not. Jake looked out. The sky was calm, blue, normal. But above it, something huge was hiding. He could feel it, like the air itself was being watched. Vok turned to him. We must prepare for visitors. What kind? Of visitors? Jake asked. Ambassadors, traders, judges, spies. Spies? Jake repeated. Vok nodded. Some want Earth to pass the test. Others want it to fail. Jake sighed. This just keeps getting worse. Vok looked at him with calm eyes. Or better. You now have one thing your planet never had before. Jake looked up. What's that? A voice. Jake didn't speak for a while. He just stared at the glowing cube on the table, the faint memory of the contract in the air, and the quiet hum in the sky that no one else on Earth could hear. He was no longer just a man. He was a representative. And time was running out. The sky over Jake's town looked normal, but it wasn't. Above the clouds, far beyond human sight, something massive had arrived. A giant circular ship floated in Earth's orbit, silent and hidden. It wasn't here for war, not yet. It was here to judge. Jake stood in his backyard, staring at the faint shimmer in the sky. Only he and Vok could see it. His hands were shaking, his thoughts spinning. He had just learned the truth. Earth was being tested. If it failed, it could be erased forever. Inside the house, Vok opened a glowing screen made of light and energy. Strange alien faces appeared, some with horns, others with multiple eyes or transparent skin. They were the members of the Galactic Tribunal. Their voices echoed in Jake's mind, even though their mouths didn't move. Human Jake Miller. A cold voice spoke. You have been chosen as Earth's proxy. Jake swallowed hard. I didn't choose this, but you signed, another voice said. Your contract makes you the voice of your kind. Now your species will face evaluation. Jake took a deep breath. What kind of evaluation? Vok answered calmly. They want to see what kind of people live here. How your world treats others. How you solve problems. How you lead. Jake looked around. His backyard had a broken fence, empty soda cans, and his rusty van. They're judging Earth based on me? That's not fair. They will judge Earth based on your choices, Vok said. You can involve others, but you must lead. The tribunal gave him 3 tasks, 3 chances to prove Earth's worth. Each one would focus on a trait: compassion, wisdom, and peace. Jake asked, and if I fail? Then Earth will be marked as a threat, a third voice said, and removed from the galactic map. The screen vanished. Jake stood in silence. His heart thudded in his chest. I fix cars. Now I have to fix a planet? Vok nodded. You don't have to save it. You just have to show that it deserves saving. The first test came that same day. Without warning, a large alien capsule landed in the middle of Jake's town square. It was silver, smooth, and humming with energy. Within minutes, people gathered, taking pictures, recording videos, panicking. The police arrived but didn't know what to do. Jake and Vok got there just as the capsule opened. Inside was a small alien child, lost, scared, and alone. Its eyes were wide. Its skin was glowing softly. It made high-pitched sounds no one understood. Crowd didn't react well. Some screamed. Some pointed phones. Some shouted, "It's dangerous. Call the army. Shoot it." Jake stepped in front of them. "Stop," he shouted. "It's just a child." He moved toward the alien. Slowly, hands up. Vok translated the child's sounds. It was scared. It didn't know where it was. It had been sent here. As part of the test, Jake knelt down. "Hey, little guy, it's okay. I'm here to help." The alien child reached out a glowing hand and touched Jake's face. A burst of color flashed in the air. Memories, sounds, and images flowed between them. Jake felt the child's fear, but also its hope. He lifted the child into his arms. The crowd gasped. Someone whispered, "He's not afraid." A woman stepped forward and gave Jake a blanket. Another offered water. Slowly, the panic faded. Compassion took its place. Back at his house, Vok smiled. "You passed the first test." Jake sat down, still holding the alien child. "That was the easy one?" Vok shook his head. "None of this is easy. But that one was about the heart." 2 days later, the second test arrived. This time, a massive sphere appeared in the sky above the city. A message was broadcasted across all screens, phones, TVs, billboards. It showed Earth's wars, crimes, pollution, hate. "Explain your world," the message said. "Justify your species." People panicked again. News reporters shouted about an alien invasion. Governments prepared weapons. Fear spread fast. Jake stood in front of a camera, a special one Vok had built, a pedal to send his voice to the tribunal. He spoke honestly. "We are not perfect," Jake said. "We make mistakes. We fight. We hurt each other. But we also love. We protect. We learn. We try." He took a breath. "We don't deserve to be erased for being unfinished. We just need time." Silence followed. The sphere vanished. Vok looked at him. "You passed the second test." Jake leaned against a wall, exhausted. "I don't even know what I'm doing." "You're doing what matters," Vok said. "Showing them that Earth has a future. But the third test would not be kind. It would not be peaceful. And it would not wait." That night, Jake saw something falling from the sky. Another ship. But this one was not here to test. It was here to attack. The night sky lit up with a fiery streak as another alien ship crashed down, this time not quiet or smooth. It tore through clouds like a flaming blade. Jake stood outside his house, watching the fireball descend. His heart dropped. "That's not a test," he whispered. Vok stepped beside him, eyes glowing with worry. "No, that is a challenger." Before Jake could speak, the ground trembled. A deep pulse echoed in the air like a distant drum. From the smoke and burning trees rose a tall figure, black armor, sharp edges, and eyes glowing red. "It wasn't here to talk." The alien's voice boomed without sound. "Earth has failed. I claim its end." Jake shouted back, "You don't get to decide that." The creature pointed at him. "Then defend it in the arena." Vok's expression turned cold. "This is an ancient law, trial by contest. If a species is challenged, it may fight for its survival. But the champion must be the one who signed the contract." Jake blinked. "Me? Fight that thing?" I can't even fight a raccoon. You won't fight with fists, Vok said. The arena doesn't test strength. It tests spirit. Before Jake could ask more, light wrapped around him like a net. In a flash, he was gone. He awoke inside a vast circular chamber, a stadium floating in space. Thousands of alien beings watched from the stands. Creatures with wings, claws, metal faces, energy bodies. It was silent, yet full of pressure. A voice echoed all around. Trial begins. Human champion versus Karkal, the destroyer. Jake stood in a circle of light. Across from him, the armored alien Karkal waited, ready. Floating above them was a strange glowing cube. It shifted shape every few seconds. Vok's voice entered Jake's mind. You must win 3 rounds. Each is different. Think, feel, adapt. Jake took a breath. I'm so dead. The cube lit up, spinning faster. Round 1 began. A platform rose in front of them. On it were pieces of technology, some alien, some human. The voice called out, Challenge 1. Build a device that saves life. Karkal moved fast, putting together sharp wires and dark tools. Jake stared at the mess of parts, confused. He saw an oxygen tank, a broken medkit, a translator chip. Think, Jake, don't copy, create. He quickly built a small device using the tank and a chip. It was rough, but it blinked softly. What is this? The voice asked. Jake held it up. A universal breathing mask. It lets anyone breathe any air, anywhere. The crowd buzzed. Kar Cole growled. His device was a weapon that could burn sickness away, effective, but deadly if used wrong. The voice declared, Round 1, victory human. Jake almost fainted from relief. Round 2 began. A new challenge appeared. 2 alien children were placed in the arena crying, scared, from different species. Between them floated a glowing fruit. Challenge 2, choose who receives the cure. Karkal stepped forward and grabbed the fruit. He tossed it to the stronger-looking child and walked away. Jake crouched down, looked into the weaker child's eyes. She was shaking, barely standing. He walked back to the fruit, took it and split it in 2 with his hands. Half is better than nothing, he said. The fruit glowed brightly, responding to his choice. The 2 halves pulsed, then multiplied 1 for each child. The crowd gasped. The voice echoed, Round 2, victory human. Jake's knees nearly gave out. 1 round remained. Round 3 began. The lights dimmed. A screen above them showed Earth cities, forests, oceans. Then the screen began to show war, fear, greed. Final challenge. Justify the survival of your species. Jake stood in silence. Karkal raised his hand. Earth is violent. It poisons itself. Its people are selfish. I say erase it. Jake looked up at the crowd, then back at the screen. He didn't try to hide the truth. You're right, Jake said. Humans fight. We make mistakes, but we also create. We love. We protect. And we change. He pointed at the screen. We're young, but we're learning. He took a deep breath. Don't judge us by our worst moments. Judge us by the fact that we try to be better. Silence. Then the voice returned. Final round. Victory human. The arena filled with light. Karkal vanished in a beam. Defeated. Jake dropped to his knees, shaking. He had done it. He had won. He was returned to his backyard, where Vok waited. You passed the games, Vok said with a small smile. Jake collapsed into a chair. I don't want to play again. You may not have a choice, Vok replied. This was just Phase 1. Others are watching now. And not all of them play by the rules. Jake looked up at the stars. He no longer felt small, but he didn't feel safe either. The real war might still be coming. Days passed since the trial by contest. Jake should have felt proud, maybe even heroic. He had won. Earth had survived. But instead of peace, a deeper silence had fallen. A silence that whispered one truth. Something wasn't right. Vok had become unusually quiet. He still made glowing breakfast cubes and offered advice, but there was something in his eyes, a hidden weight, a worry he refused to share. Jake noticed. "You're hiding something," he said one morning, staring at the sky. "You said I passed. So why do I feel like the real game hasn't even started?" Vok didn't answer right away. Then he spoke softly. "Because you're right," Jake turned. "Tell me." Vok sighed. "The contract you signed was never meant for you. It was a bait." "A bait?" Jake repeated. "For what?" Vok looked away. "For us. For the galaxy. You see, the Galactic Pact doesn't just accept new species. They test them. Secretly. Harshly. Not to see if they're ready, but to see if they can survive the chaos we've created." Jake stepped back. "You're saying this whole thing, the servant, the trials, even you as part of a setup?" Vok nodded. "Long ago, the pact grew too large, too many planets, too much fear. So the High Tribunal decided to limit new members." Jake narrowed his eyes. "By destroying them?" "By testing them until they break," Vok said. "Most never even reach the final stage. Their champions fail, or they give up. Or worse, they become dangerous." Jake's voice dropped. "And Earth? You surprised them," Vok said. "You passed the test. That's why they're quiet now." Jake crossed his arms. "Then it's over," but Vok didn't move. Jake read the silence. "It's not over, is it?" "No," Vok whispered. "Because you weren't supposed to pass. And now there are those who see you and Earth as a threat." A soft beep came from the black cube on Jake's shelf. A light pulsed red, not blue. Vok picked it up. Encrypted signal, not from the pact. He opened a glowing screen. A figure appeared cloaked, shadowed, its voice disguised. "Jake Miller, listener of Earth. I speak for the Watchers." Jake frowned. "Who are the Watchers?" The voice continued. "We are the ones who see behind the veil. The contract was designed to push you to your limit, but you pushed back. That makes you dangerous to them and valuable to us." Jake stepped forward. "Are you saying the tribunal wanted me to fail on purpose?" "Yes, but you didn't. You adapted. You showed what most can't: mercy, creativity, and truth." Jake clenched his fists. "So now what? They leave us alone?" The voice paused. "No. They'll send something worse next time, not a test, but a purge." Jake's face turned cold. "So I'm still fighting." Vok spoke firmly. "Not alone. You've earned allies and enemies." The voice flickered. "If you want to survive, you need to understand the final truth." Jake waited. "What truth?" "Vok isn't your servant." Jake looked at Vok. "What is he then?" The voice spoke clearly now. "He is your judge and your protector." Jake stepped back. "Wait, what?" Vok finally looked up. "Yes, I came not to serve, but to decide. I was to observe your choices. If I believed you had no future, I would have ended the contract." Jake stared. "You could have killed me." "I could have ended Earth," Vok said, quietly. "But I didn't, because I saw something worth saving." Jake turned away, breathing heavily. His whole world was fake. Every choice, every test, it was being watched, weighed, and measured by the one person he thought was helping him. Vok spoke again. "At first, I was just doing my duty. But now, I believe in you, and that changes everything." Jake turned back slowly. "So what now?" The screen shimmered again. "You've passed the tests, but now the tribunal is afraid. Afraid that a human with a voice could change the pact itself." Jake whispered, "Can I?" The voice replied, "Yes, But only if you survive what's coming. Vok stepped forward. Then it's time you learn how to fight back not with weapons, but with power they fear the most. Influence. Jake's eyes narrowed. So you're saying I shake their throne? You shake their entire system, Vok said. But only if you're ready. Jake stared at the black cube pulsing in his hand. He thought back to who he was. Just a mechanic, a regular guy. Then he looked at who he'd become. A symbol, a voice, a threat. He took a deep breath. I didn't ask for this, he said. But maybe that's why I was the right one, Vok nodded. Then prepare, Jake Miller. The final move is yours. Above Earth, the stars began to shift. The tribunal was no longer watching silently. It was preparing to strike. The stars had changed. Far above Earth, the tribunal ships moved into position, cold, silent, ready. They no longer planned to judge. Now, they were here to decide one final act. One final punishment. Jake Miller stood at the edge of a cliff, overlooking his town as wind howled around him. He could feel it in the air. Tension, like a storm before lightning. The black cube in his hand pulsed faster than ever. Vok appeared beside him, calm but focused. The tribunal is coming. No more tests, no more trials, only the final strike. Jake tightened his grip on the cube. I passed their games. I spoke their truth. Why are they still coming? Because, Vok said quietly, you broke their pattern. You prove that humanity has what they fear most, free will that cannot be predicted. Jake turned. So they destroy what they can't control? Yes, Vok answered. They've done it before. Quietly, silently. Planets erased, memories rewritten, history removed. No one questions it. Jake looked up at the dark sky. Then this time, they picked the wrong world. Just then, the sky split with a burning crack of light. A beam dropped from space into the ocean, vaporizing water into clouds. No warning, no message. Just violence. Earth satellites exploded. Power grids shook. Global panic erupted. But Jake didn't run. He opened the black cube, which unfolded into a floating panel of symbols. Vok placed his hand beside it. I can activate the emergency beacon, Vok said. If other species hear your call, some may come. But it's risky. Not everyone will come to help. Jake nodded. Send it. Let them know Earth won't fall quietly. The signal pulsed out into space like a scream in the dark. Seconds later, lights blinked in the sky, some red, some blue, some white. Alien ships responded. Not just warriors, but scientists, diplomats, even traders Jake had never seen before. A few had watched his trials. Some had even judged him. But now, they came as equals. A council ship hovered over Earth's skies and opened a wide stream, projecting a massive face, the high judge of the tribunal, human Jake Miller. You have overstepped your place. The contract was a mistake. You should not have survived the test. Jake stepped forward. I did more than survive. I changed the rules. Then you leave us no choice. Earth will be wiped for its defiance. Behind Jake, thousands of human voices rose, scientists, artists, children, leaders. Earth had seen the signals. The world had watched. Now they stood with Jake. Jake lifted the cube toward the judge's image. You fear humans because we think in ways your system can't track. We don't always follow logic. We follow hope. The judge's eyes narrowed. Hope is chaos, Jake smiled. Exactly. The tribunal ship charged its weapons. But just before they fired, one of their own vessels broke formation, an old ambassador-class cruiser, led by a being with skin of crystal and eyes like suns. I object, the being said. Gasps echoed across the tribunal. A neutral judge had spoken something that hadn't happened in centuries. Others joined in. One by one, Species who once feared Earth now stood beside it. Jake had shown them that even a broken world could carry light, that flaws were not failure. Tribunal's fleet paused. The High Judge's face faded. Vox stepped beside Jake. You changed them. You reminded them that life isn't perfect, but it fights to grow. Jake looked at the stars. Then let's grow louder. He pressed the final seal on the cube, which released a golden pulse across the sky, a universal declaration. Earth accepts galactic membership. Human first. Forever. In that moment, Earth was no longer just a blue dot. It was a voice, a symbol of rebellion, of heart, of chaos with purpose. The tribunal could not stop it. They turned away. Not in defeat, but in recognition. Jake exhaled. His knees almost gave up. Vox caught him. It's done, Jake whispered. We're still here, Vox smiled, and now, so is your choice. A small panel opened on the cube. It showed dozens of coordinates, unknown planets, species in early stages of growth. Just like Earth had been. Jake's eyes widened. What is this? Vox replied gently. The next contract. The right to pass it on. Jake stared in silence. He had once been a nobody, a tired mechanic with nothing but debt and broken dreams. Now he held the future of other worlds in his hand. He smiled. I'll read the fine print this time. And with a steady breath, Jake reached forward. A new beginning was about to start, not for him, but for someone else, because heroes aren't born. Sometimes they just sign the wrong contract.